This is Richard Flax at MoneyFarm, talking about some of the things that have caught our attention over the past few days. A couple of things to touch on. Firstly, in the UK, we've seen the introduction of some new restrictions in response to the increase in the number of cases of coronavirus. And the impact here is likely to be a bit of a hit to economic activity. It's provided the Chancellor with the opportunity to introduce some new schemes to support the labour market and support employment. Probably not on quite as generous a set of terms as the furlough arrangements, but an important contribution nonetheless. Unlikely to prevent a rise in unemployment, but perhaps more focused on trying to manage it as best he can. In the US, there are some legislative challenges. We see that that Congress is struggling to pass a new stimulus package, and that'll have some implications there as well for the shape of the recovery, and in particular perhaps the improvement in the labour market. We've seen initial jobless claims remain relatively stable over the last few weeks, not quite at the very high levels we saw earlier in the year, but certainly at a level to suggest that the healing process for the economy is likely to be a bit slower than perhaps some had hoped a few months ago. And finally, when we think about monetary policy, we've seen central banks, notably the Fed and the Bank of England, reiterate their support for the economy in terms of keeping interest rates very low. Increasingly, it seems that this is really taken as a given by financial markets. And the financial markets perhaps are a little bit more focused on commentary around the shape of the recovery, which from central banks has been fairly downbeat, acknowledging that we've seen a sharp recovery from the lows, but perhaps painting a picture of a relatively slow and uncertain recovery over the next few months and quarters, which is perhaps slightly at odds with some of the more optimistic sentiment that we had seen earlier in the year. Thank you very much for joining us, and look forward to speaking to you again soon.